Okay, take two. So this was originally uploaded as a live video, but somehow the sound was all messed up, so I had to edit and re-upload. But let's get into it. Starting with some housekeeping. This video is based on my personal experience. I highly advise you to do your own research, specifically when you're undertaking a task like moving to another country. Do put your comments below or questions below, and I will get back to you. So back in 2016, when I was considering moving abroad from America, I literally started by making a list of top cities that I would want to live in. And unfortunately, I only speak English. So I was only considering countries where English was the recognized language or widely spoken. Now, I've traveled extensively. I understand that in most countries, people speak English, but that is not the same as, the country having English as their nationally recognized language. And I did not want to deal with the complications that come along with a language barrier. So some of the cities that were on my list were Toronto, Canada, Johannesburg, South Africa, Cape Town, South Africa, Sydney, Australia, Edinburgh, Scotland, and London, England. And I ended up moving to London, obviously. Some of the other things to consider is the geopolitical situation. So some of you are currently researching moving abroad following the US 2024 presidential election. If you are moving overseas to another country, do consider what's going on politically in that nation. Were they recently engaged in any sort of like wars, anything like that that may cause upheaval or distress? I found this article on Forbes and I thought it was so interesting where the author spoke to expats that were living all over the world and asked them what are the top countries for expats. And coming in at number 1 was Panama, 2 Mexico, 3 Indonesia, 4 Spain, 5 Colombia, 6 Thailand, 7 Brazil, 8 Vietnam, 9 the Philippines, and 10 the UAE, United Arab Emirates. I was surprised by this list. I thought the UAE would have been closer to the top of the list, but share your thoughts. What do you think about this list of best ranked places for expats according to Forbes? So I found this article on Travel and Leisure where they ranked the top 10 cities for expats with families. And coming in at number 1 was Edinburgh, Scotland, number 2, Amsterdam, 3, Seville, Spain, 4, Helsinki, Finland, and rounding out the top 5, Copenhagen, Denmark. At 6 is Munich, Germany, 7, Madrid, 8, Vienna, 9, Manchester, England, and number 10, Oslo, Norway. I was surprised by this list as well. Normally when they talk about like the happiest places, the best places for families, they always rank the Scandinavian countries high. And while they're on the list, I would have thought that they would have been like closer to like the top spot on the list. So I did find that interesting. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Normally I post videos on Mondays. The live did not go according to plan, so this is being posted on a Tuesday. But every Monday I post new videos. Go over there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you in advance. So one of the ways that you'll be able to move abroad is by obtaining a visa. So there are various types of visas, and I'm going to give you a general overview. So the first is a student visa. So that's for undergraduate studies, graduate studies, or PhD level studies. Once you complete your degree, you can apply for a graduate visa. This essentially allows new graduates to stay in the country that they studied without first obtaining a job. So it allows you to stay in the country legally while you look for work rather than finding an employer to sponsor you and then applying for a work visa. So the next type of visa is a work visa. This is how I was able to move to the UK, is through a work visa. And we'll go through in more details the different types of work visas. There's also a secondment or transfer visa. This is also sometimes referred to as an intra-office or intra-company visa. So if you work for an organization that has global offices, you can request a secondment visa where you're transferred from where you're currently working to an office in another country. Entrepreneurial visa for those that own businesses or that are seeking to start a business. Ancestral visa, so this usually applies if you have a parent or a grandparent that was born abroad. A lot of nations offer ancestry visas. I don't know if it goes back further than grandparents. So let's say, for example, you have a great grandparent or a great great grandparent. I don't know if nations take that lineage that far back into consideration, but I do know that generally speaking, they consider your parents' nation of origin, your grandparents' home country for ancestry visas. Next is the spousal or partner visa. You do not need to be legally married to request this visa. So how it would work, let's say, for example, you are in a relationship with someone who was granted a student visa for a doctoral program in Sweden. And if you would like to move with them to Sweden, they can then apply for you to have a partner visa under their student visa. So your right to relocate is attached to your partner's visa. The family visa works in the same way. Let's say, for example, you were offered a job in Spain and you have 3 young children and you want your children to obviously relocate with you. You would then apply for a family visa under your work visa for your children. Parents can also, like if you have elderly parents, this applies to them, as well as fiancés in civil partnerships. So for the spousal and family visas, those relationships, those people in your family, they are attached to your visa, and you would have to request visas outside of the one that you were granted. And of course, I have a YouTube video where I go into detail about how I successfully applied for a UK work visa. It is so much information that I had to split the video into 2. This is part 1. Make sure that you go back and watch these videos. So I applied for my UK work visa while I was still living in the US. So I go into detail and explain how all of that works. So again, go back and watch part 1 and part 2 of these videos that's up on my YouTube channel. So when you are looking for a job overseas, it is going to be dependent on obviously what industry you work in. So back in 2017, when I applied for a visa, my visa was a skilled worker visa. So these are occupations like nurses, teachers, doctors, social workers, therapists. Those sorts of roles falls under a skilled worker visa, and that is the type of visa that I previously had. There are also creative worker visas that falls under professions like actors, actresses, musicians. The scale up worker visa, I wasn't previously aware of this until I did research for this video. This is an option for smaller companies that have a proven record of growth. If, for example, they need a PR professional, a public relations professional, or a software developer to help them expand their company, then they can offer people in that industry, people in that profession, a visa. And then there are the entrepreneurial visas, which is known as the innovator founder visa. So these are specifically what they're called in the UK, but generally speaking, there's going to be some variation of this available in other countries as well. It just may be called something else. So the job shortage scheme is essentially a list of jobs where there are not enough skilled workers in a country The list is used to make it easier for employers to hire foreign workers to fill these vacancies through the skilled worker visa scheme. This is how I was able to move to the UK. So not only am I a skilled worker, my specific profession is on the job shortage list. And if you are also a skilled worker, I would advise that you check to see if the country that you're looking to relocate to offers a job shortage scheme. In my opinion, like, I don't have any evidence of this, I don't have any data of this, but in my opinion, I think if you are applying for a work visa as a skilled worker that is on the job shortage scheme, your visa application is more easily processed because the country identifies that you are there to fill in a gap of an unmet need versus like some other sort of visa, like a student visa to go to graduate school or something like that. Now, I don't know the data, I don't know the statistics on that, but I have applied for this particular visa and my process was pretty straightforward. So to find out more information about the job shortage scheme, visit the government's official website. So that is what you see on this slide. So in blue where it says skilled worker visa, that is the UK government's website. In order to find more information out about not only the skilled worker visa, but all visas, you will need to go to the Home Office website. The Home Office is the governing body in the UK that provides oversight for immigration, and that includes visas. In the middle, that is the government website for the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Ministry of Manpower is what the oversight body is called in Indonesia. And in the upper right-hand corner in yellow, that is the official government website for the Spanish government. Avoid, if you can, going to a third-party site. Go directly to the government's website because that's where you're going to find the most relevant and up-to-date information. And of course, I already have a video up on my YouTube channel where I go into great detail about how I was able to land a skilled worker job while living in America. So before you can even apply for a work visa, you first need a job offer. Go back and watch this almost 20-minute video where I go in granular detail about how I did this. I will advise, if you are a skilled worker, you need to make sure that your credentials are recognized in the country that you are relocating to. So if you are a US-based attorney and you want to relocate to the UK, you will be required to either take the solicitor exam or the barrister exam, depending on how you want to practice. If you are a nurse, you would need to make sure that you contact the Healthcare Professions Council, HCPC, to submit an international application to have your American nursing credentials recognized. That is what I had to do in my profession. And I'm going to go ahead and assume, regardless of where you relocate, you'll have to do this. So let's assume your visa application was approved and now it's time to move. My advice would be to only pack your clothes. Do not worry about shipping furniture. Do not worry about shipping large appliances. I understand if you have like sentimental feelings about certain things, but in terms of being practical, the whole point of this video is providing you with practical advice on how to relocate. And what I did is when I moved to the UK, I sold all of my furniture or I gave it away. I gave away all of my large appliances or I sold them, and I only brought my clothes. And to move my clothes to the UK, I did not hire a courier service. I did not FedEx my stuff. I essentially paid the airline the excessive baggage fee in order to have all of my things put on the plane. And I had like 4 or 5 suitcases, which, you know, looking back on it is probably a bit excessive, but it was a lot cheaper. And the reason why I'm advising y'all to only bring your clothes and not bring furniture and large appliances is throughout the UK, there is an option to rent homes and apartments that are either fully furnished or semi-furnished. And I'm assuming that it's like that wherever you would like to move, where it is not necessary for you to purchase a coffee table and a bed and a dining table. You don't need to do all of that because there are options to rent properties where all of those furnishings are already there. So you can save yourself the time, money, energy, and effort by just getting rid of them. So these are some really good websites to find rental properties: Zoopla, Rightmove, Spare Room, Open Rent, or booking a letting agent. So I'm assuming that a lot of these companies are up and running outside of the UK, but these are particularly popular in the UK. I have personally used Open Rent, and I have booked a letting agent. I like Open Rent because it's the landlords that are on that website, rather than a third party person or company. And I also like the option of booking a letting agent. There are some really well-known letting agencies in London like KFH or Foxtons, where you basically can go into your local office and speak to a letting agency to let them know what your monthly budget is, how many rooms you're looking for, and what area of the city you're looking to rent. And then they will come back to you with a list of available properties that are on the market, and they will book a time for you to go and do a viewing. So you do not have to do all of the legwork like you do on the other websites. The agent basically does all the work for you, and they get a commission. You don't pay them the commission directly. It's a part of the package when you, if you end up signing a lease agreement through their agency. But the most recent place that I moved to, we used a letting agent, and it was very straightforward, very efficient. I highly recommend. And you already know I have a video up on my YouTube channel. This was posted last week about when I went apartment hunting in London. I hired a letting agency and went with one agent who showed me 2 properties. So head over to my channel to watch this video so you can get a bird's eye view on how that process works. So go ahead and leave your question or comment in the chat. Apologies again that the live went left. The whole point of me planning to go live was to be able to answer your questions in real time. But I will give you another piece of advice. Like the second bullet on this slide says, speak to a recruiter or headhunter. There are international agencies where they exclusively hire overseas workers to come and fill vacancies abroad. So I will put a link in the chat. I saw an article on, I want to say it was either LinkedIn or Indeed, where they created a list of 10 of the most well-known international recruitment agencies, because that is also a good way for you to identify what the job market looks like in the city or country that you're looking to move to. And you can get some one-to-one advice based on whatever your situation is. I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.